My friends, welcome to another important video on my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Yes, the Panic Attack Recovery Program is now available. 8 weeks to freedom from panic attacks and panic disorder begins today. And today we're talking about a subject that I'm very passionate about because the only way to really tap into how debilitating health anxiety and hypochondria really is if you experienced it or are experiencing it right now yourself. You could go to someone who is emotionally neutral, maybe cleared their traumas, maybe don't have the unconscious triggers, maybe don't have the intrusive thoughts. You can go up to someone like that and say, I've got hypochondria and health anxiety, and they really won't know what to do with that, right? They won't even know what to say about it. They'll probably say, well, everything's going to be fine, or don't listen to what you think. And this is good advice, but it's very difficult practically to apply these things. So when it comes to health anxiety, I want you to understand that you're not alone, number one. You're not powerless, number two. And number three, you must understand that as much as the health anxiety numbers seem to be going up around the world, the hypochondriacs, the numbers in terms of healing health anxiety is also going up. There's a lot of people suffering out there, but there's also a lot of people making so much progress. And it's very important for you to understand that you can start making that progress as well. Today's video is for the people who are new to health anxiety. I want to share with you a couple of very important points that you can start using today. And I wish somebody told me these points when I was suffering from health anxiety, because they would have been very useful, right? They would have been very useful in terms of me once and for all meeting with my goal. My goal back in those days were disinterest and boredom. Disinterest around the feelings within me that spur on the ideas that spur on health anxiety. If I can just become disinterested in those ideas, if I could just become more disinterested in those feelings, then what's going to happen is my body is going to heal itself, and there's no reason for me to activate this overthinking mind anymore, this monkey mind, and try to solve all my bodily problems through the mind. The body's intelligence is much more intelligent than the mind's intelligence. And if you just allow the body to heal itself, many times, quite often, it does. But with health anxiety, we have a very difficult time trusting that the body can do that. And we feel like we always have to stand guard. We always have to think through every single internal or external problem. And we have a difficulty leaving things alone until today. Because you can trust in leaving things alone once again. Let's get into these steps. Step number one is avoid rushing. Avoid rushing. Rushing makes things feel more threatening than they actually are. When you start rushing around, what tends to happen is your sympathetic system becomes activated. You're in fight or flight. And what happens when you're in fight or flight is you're living your life based on patterns and instincts. You're not creating, you're replaying. Okay, so when you're rushing, there is no creation. As much as you may think that you're creating something new, or you're following a new idea or belief system or new behavior, you're not, right? You can't. Instead, you're following what your body is telling you to follow. Your instincts are telling you to run or fight back, and you're finding ways to do that throughout the day, mainly even from social media. Because if you look at Twitter and Facebook these days, you're going to see how divided people are, right? And it's not so much the subject that they're so passionate about, but the truth is they finally have a medium to express their anger and their rage and their fears. So they take advantage of those. So what you want to do if you're new to health anxiety is avoid rushing. Avoid rushing. This is a behavior. This is an action. You're getting in the way of your instincts. Your instincts are saying, go, 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 because we are addicted to stress. We are addicted to stress hormones, right? We either need to be very, very excited about something or very, very angry at something or fearful about something. We don't understand that that middle ground is where inner peace truly lies. And we can spend time in that middle ground and nothing has to happen around us, outside or inside, and we can be at peace with that. Health anxiety sufferers need to understand that. Number 2, avoid long hours on computers or your mobile device. Getting too caught up online increases muscle tension and promotes shallow breathing. My friends, as I say quite often to health anxiety sufferers, as I say, you're one new perception away from healing health anxiety. As I say this, people are starting to grasp this idea. They're starting to truly tap into their capabilities around their new perceptions. Now, if you're always on the computer and if you're always on your mobile device, you can't have a new perception about things, right? In that moment, because you're fighting against something, because you're competing against something, you're stuck in a pattern that's connected to childhood trauma, a pattern that's connected to generational trauma, a pattern that's connected to the addiction to suffering. You know, when I started to really look at myself from the outside and say, Dennis, you really are addicted to suffering, I started to understand how I was holding on to health anxiety. Health anxiety wasn't holding on to me. I was holding on to health anxiety because of all the secondary gains I was getting. The secondary gain that said, if I leave my relationship with health anxiety, who am I going to be? I don't know what it's like not to suffer. So even if a health anxiety sufferer heals health anxiety many times, they find another way to connect with their addiction to suffering. But no, not you, because you're changing beliefs and identity. You understand that health anxiety is just the symptom. Let's get back to number 2, though. It's very important that the moment you catch yourself spending way too much time on computers or mobile devices, you stop, because you're not being mindful. Healing has a lot to do with being mindful of what's taking place on the inside. And if you allow the patterns of shallow breathing to overtake your mind, body, and spirit, you're never going to have a new perception. You're never going to have a new belief. You're never going to have a new life. Just because those feelings are familiar doesn't mean you have to live with them forever. Understand that, okay? Stress is familiar, anxiety is familiar, suffering is familiar, and many times health anxiety sufferers, when they go through their day, they look for things that will disappoint them. This may disappoint me. That may cause symptoms and sensations. Why? Because it's familiar. And whatever's familiar to the subconscious mind is also safe. It's not that nature is safe, it's what's familiar. Number 3, avoid using a strategy where you always look to distract from symptoms and intrusive thoughts. This strategy will only harm you long term. It is not even a strategy. It's a coping mechanism. Okay? And if anybody promotes this kind of a strategy, turn around and tell them that you're no longer going to allow yourself to distract from symptoms or avoid certain experiences. Why? Because these sorts of things justify your subconscious fears. The more you look to avoid an unfamiliar experience, the more you're justifying that there is in fact a threat in those experiences. The more you look to distract from your symptoms, every single time you get the symptom, you go to your mobile device or take something for it, you're saying, yes, within this environment, although I'm not sure of the unconscious triggers, they are here. And as much as you may be dealing with the symptom in that moment, I can promise you it's going to come back again. And those symptoms are going to travel from head all the way down to toe until you get to a point of being bored and disinterested by those feelings, by those intrusive ideas. So avoid this strategy. I want to leave you with this. Health anxiety makes us believe that we are fragile and small, when in reality we are strong and limitless. You are strong and limitless, warrior. And it's time that you look deep within you and you found these parts, because these parts are yelling at you. They're looking to get your attention, and it's time to listen to those parts and avoid listening to the parts that scream out fear and threat, because those are just delusions. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Remember that you are more than anxiety. I'll see you soon. Comment below. Let's chat.